Lindsay, switch off now, guys. How about this first? Yes, moving mindsets, lovely. Chris, beautiful. Lucy, lovely. Glenn, nice. Evan, Chris, welcome. Shanae, my beautiful little niece. How you doing? Yeah, thank you. Happy Mother's Day to everyone's mum. Just playing a little background music. Who's this by?
Kim.
This is by a guy named Kim. Just lovely. Yeah, do you know what? Are you okay? Thank you, brothers. Brothers the box. Yeah, that box. Thank you for asking. It's been a tough one, you know. But I had a great birthday. That was brilliant. But life's really challenging, isn't it? I'm telling you, so challenging. Especially when you don't want to settle. When you don't want to settle and you want more and you want to achieve more and you want to push yourself. Yeah, there's Mumsy in the background. Don't you find, put your hands up, give me a wave if you find that life's a lot more challenging when you want to live your best life now and when you want to achieve things. It's so much easier to be in the 90-odd% of people that will settle, okay? They'll just settle, okay? This is life, this is how the system wants me to live, and I'm just cooling with that. But I've done both. Chamberlain joined. Go on, Chamberlain. Big up with the boxing. I'd like to have you on this, you know, Chamberlain. Let me know when you'd like to come on, because it'd be a great little interview of yourself. Give people an insight into what it's like being a top prospect now. Yeah. So, yeah, before I bring on my guest, I just wanted, if you've found in life that when you try to better yourself, when you try and do good, you have people coming up against you, you have things coming up against you. It's just so much more tough and difficult when you want to make something of your life. You know, I could ask Chamberlain that, you know, was it easier just being on the streets of Brixton to just join the Mandem? And how hard has it been, the journey to pick yourself up and achieve your goals? Yeah, that's what I'd like to be asking you, Chamberlain. How tough is, you know, how easy was it before for you? And how hard is it now? Yeah, Purse, Miss, yeah, I see the hands going up. People that know innit? They know. Here's another thing that I find. I find that we live in a world right now that just wants conformity. They want you to fit in. And if you don't go with how the media is agenda is, if you go against the common, the consensus of the masses, and you stand out, and you're different and you have a different view, then everyone goes against you and you're the outcast all of a sudden. And I find that strange, because go and look throughout history. What you're going to find is that the people that are the legends, the people that stand out, the people that are never forgotten, what did they have to do? They had to stand up for what they believed in, and they even had to die for what they believed in. They had to lose their job, had to lose their reputation, had to lose everything just to hold their own view, their own opinion, and what they believed in. And despite everybody else going against them, hating on them, you know, just wanting to put them down, they knew that they were doing the right thing and they were going by their heart and what they felt was the right direction to go in and were guided. The one that comes to mind as a fighter is Ali straight away, but we got loads. We got the Mandelas as well. There's so much people that we have. Martin Luther, who's done such great things. We've got great women in history that stood up, stood up for what they believed in. Like, nah, they want to individually can be a lonesome. Yeah, no, seriously, it can be. And, I'm not getting it twisted for a moment, just because I'm doing what I'm doing for my son and I want to support and help people. That don't mean everyone, is supporting you and everyone's behind you. Because I always remember this, that, the minute you say something people don't agree with or people don't like, then you'll see the real people come out and the support that you actually do have. It's easy to be liked when, things are going the way that people like. So I know there's other people out here that are, maybe sort of struggling with that thing in their mind, like fitting in, conforming, and they're struggling with decision making in loads of different areas. How you doing, Charlotte? You just joined us. Wonderful to have you. Someone asked me how I'm doing, which I found pretty cool. And I'm just sharing like a bit of my week, the ups. It was my birthday and it was so much fun being with family. It's just beautiful. Because at the end of the day, whatever's going on, that's what you've got. You've got your family. And they never look at you anything else but that's my brother, or, that's my uncle, or that's my dad. And that's really needed in life, because for me, I don't get it twisted at all. I don't see myself as nobody else but just Mark Prince, doing my thing, wanting to make an impact. And I want to be able to say what I want to say and do what I want to do. And it's all done from a good place, And people might not agree, but it's done from a good place. I'm not evil-minded. I'm not a horrible guy. I ain't trying to distress anybody and do anything and upset anyone. But you can't please everyone. Do you know what I'm saying? I think these kind of things we have to remember on our journey. You can't please everyone.
And if you want to please everyone, you will go and sell ice cream. All right?
Yeah, you hear that one?
Okay.
Go sell ice cream. I ain't got no ice cream. I just got the truth, okay? I just got the truth. How is everyone, man? How's everyone? I saw that was Dean, right? How's everyone? How you guys doing? How you feeling, Aisha? Hope you're well, my darling. It was difficult today for me because it's the first time I'm experiencing Mother's Day without my mum. So like Mother's Day is always like I'm buzzing, and even though there's lots of mothers in the family, it's like the queen mum, my mum, the queen mum that's the main house. So I'm giving everyone.
Yep, the singing ice cream man.
Yeah, so I'm giving, everyone gives mum all the love and attention, even though we give the other girls, my sister, Daz, my daughters, there's lots of mums in the family. But mum's a queen mum, and the foundation, the bedrock's not there. So
I think we're all affected by that.
Yeah.
I don't think, even us as the other mothers, I don't think we're actually...
Afternoon, you two beauties.
We're just a bit low, everyone are. I believe we all are a bit low today.
Yeah, I think it's kind of taking the edge a little bit off us. And
even though my boys have given me their gifts and they've done all of this, but everyone's still a bit low. It's a tough one, so yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to share that it's okay to not be always flying high. Because when you ask people, what do you want out of life? I want to be happy. But like, is that reality? Can you just be happy in that happy old mood every day, all day? And I think to be human is to experience the wide range of emotions that we have to go through. And just because you can motivate, just because you can inspire, just because you can lift people up doesn't mean that you don't get down and you don't experience things. And sometimes it's like people, they're like that. They kind of look at you as if, oh, you're not supposed to do this. You're a motivational speaker. You're not supposed to. Yeah, but I'm a human being. So, you know, I can motivate. That's what I do. Yeah, you two look blessed. Thank you so much. I can motivate, but in reality, I'm just like you. I'm just like, we suffer the same things. We get low, we get down. You know, I've lost people in my life like yourself. I've got troubles in my life like yourself. And I've got to navigate my way through that, you know. So we all the same. So I'm really grateful for you guys' support today. I don't want to keep babbling on. I want to introduce a really beautiful guest to get today. And she's beautiful because it's not everyone that can go through difficult situations in life and be able to share it. I just found something out. If you go and check out domestic violence, I checked it out today. Over the last year, there's like 1.6 million domestic violent cases over here. That's serious. That's quite common. 1.6 million. There's a massive spike, a massive raise. And that's why I felt like this was a really important topic to speak about. Yes, Mother's Day. And a lot of mothers aren't getting treated like the special queens that they are. They're being knocked about. Some are even being knocked about by their own children.
Exactly.
Like, this is deep. Young men and men, I'm not leaving you out for a minute, because I know it's really difficult for men to express themselves when it comes to domestic violence, because, you know, everybody automatically thinks, oh, whatever. Welcome to all those that just joined. Those that are just the ones that reported.
That is
Thank
true.
you, Barry.
Yeah.
Boxing Barry nailed it.
Yeah, that's true.
Those are just the ones reported. Yeah, it is very sad. And I think that there are organizations out there, but are we really aware the way that we should be? And do we have the knowledge to be able to help ourselves when we see the signs of it? Do we see the red flags?
Women Purpose are working each month, and we are raising money for it. How do you say? Isha Charity, who help children and women experiencing. Oh, that's excellent, Ray. That's excellent.
Oh, sorry. Hi. Sorry. Hi. Hello.
Hi,
How
Charlotte.
are you doing, Charlotte? This is a really exciting.
Des.
Oh, thanks, Charlotte. Happy Mother's Day to you too.
Thank
Happy
you.
Mother's Day, Charlotte.
That's all right.
You look so lovely.
Look at my friend called Sean.
You look so lovely, Charlotte.
Yeah.
Thank
Great
you.
smile. Yeah, there's some radiance beaming from you.
Thank you. Is the internet
What is that
okay?
about? Where's that coming from? The internet's all right. Where's that radiance coming from?
It's coming from internal. It's coming from me internally, and I believe personally in God. So there are, everybody has inner beauty, you see,
Yeah.
and we don't believe in ourselves. That's not going to shine. And sometimes it can shine, however, we may not be able to see it. So because it's coming from me and I can see it, I'm just letting it flourish. And however I look is however I look. As long as I'm smiling and I'm happy, then I'm happy.
Yeah, and you're content with where you are. Do you have peace about your life and where you are at the moment?
Yeah, I am happy. As I believe, life is a work in progress. It's not a work in progress, it's a work in progress. So we have to review ourselves, where we are at in our life, our situation. Are we happy with ourselves internally, our surroundings, our finances? And we just have to do that now and again. And I do that quite regularly. I sit down with myself and have a chat with me. So
Nice.
yeah.
Nice conversation. So this week's all about domestic violence. And I
No.
think you're very brave. I think you're very brave to have a conversation with me, with people online listening, sharing with them first what you went through, and tell us why you want to do that. Tell us why you want to do that.
Personally, I want to show awareness of domestic violence because there is so much out there, and I believe that if I can tell my story and help somebody else, then what I went through will not be in vain. Because sometimes we go through things in life
Yeah.
and we just move on, we just carry on going forward, and we don't look at the silver lining under every dark cloud. So I looked at my experience, and due to the type of person that I am, I felt like I have to make a difference. So if my story can help one person, then that's one person's life that I've helped save. So this is the
Excellent.
reason I'm doing it.
Lovely. So let's do that. Let's do that. Where do we start, Charlotte? I'm going to allow you to set the foundation, because in any relationship that you have with somebody, there's the beginning, but it's good to know what space was you in when you began that relationship, because I think that's really important, because a lot of people, when they look back, they realize the space they were in when they began a relationship might not have been a good space that they've been in to be able to choose and pick the right person to be with.
Yeah, that's
So where
fine.
was you? Where was you? Where was you at that time when you began dating the partner that done what he done to you?
Okay, so in my headspace at the time, I had come out of a 4-year relationship. So I was on my own for a little while, and I was just doing the things that I love, just working and traveling. And then I met somebody, and it wasn't planned. I didn't have it in my head at the time that, oh, I want to get into another relationship. But unbeknown to me, subconsciously, it was saying something completely different. So I
How
went
old
with.
were you at this time?
I was 21 at the time.
Cool.
So I just thought, yeah, okay, well, this guy, he's charming, he's kind, he's complimenting me, I like him. Okay, I'm just going to go with it. And so everything was all lovely, you know, at first for a while. And then I fell pregnant, which was not planned.
Give us a
So
time span. Give us a
the
time span.
time span was, it's good. I'm going all the way back now. I'm just under a year,
Okay.
just under a year. And I made the decision, obviously, to have my daughter, which, you know, she's a blessing to me. But at the time, I
Did you
wasn't ready
both
to
want the daughter? Did you
Pardon?
both want the daughter? Did you both want the daughter? Did you both want the child? And how did you both feel about having the child, even though it wasn't planned?
Well, at first, he was very happy and he said, whatever you decide, I'll support you. But he wanted the child. And at the time, at the beginning, I was unsure. Okay. That still hurts me to this day a little bit. But that was because I'd lost a son. I had a baby before, and my son had passed away. So naturally, that fear of, oh my God, am I going to, you know, what if the same thing happens again? And then due to after talking with my mum, and there was a few other factors that I had to take into consideration as well in regards with health, I made the decision to just go ahead, because I thought, well, in 10 years' time, I may not be able to have children. And I was told that by a doctor. So I thought, well, this might, okay, even though I'm scared, this might actually be my only time. So I said, okay, I'll do it. You know, I'll have my daughter, which I did. and said that, you know, she's a blessing. I wouldn't change her for the world.
Of course.
And then it changed. It started to change. It's not long after she was born. So obviously I had postnatal depression when I had my daughter, and she was premature. So there was a lot of trauma and a lot of uncertainty at the time, which was filling up in my mind. So I was just
Getting
looking
support.
Pardon?
Was you getting any support around that time when you was postnatal depression and?
I had my mum and I had my siblings. However, at that time in my life, I very much kind of held it together, just kept it to myself. Because I felt that if I expressed it, I was weak. So,
Right. So they were there, but you didn't utilize them.
no, I didn't. Looking back on reflection, I'd speak with my mum, but then I think in the end I stopped talking to her about it, you see.
Okay.
Was she supportive when you were speaking to her about it?
Yes, she was. And I think also with the background where I came from, it was a case of, okay, if you don't like it, you know, just change it, get on with it. Come on, you know, you're a mum. How it was then, it was like, you're a mum now. You haven't got time to think about that too much. Get on with being. That was the message that I received. Of course. And my mum was a great support through the pregnancy, and when I had the postnatal depression, you know, I stayed with her for the first few months.
So for those that don't know about postnatal depression, what does that look like? What does it feel like when you're an early mum and, you know, you're diagnosed with postnatal depression? What are the signs?
For me, I felt, said my daughter, I had an emergency cesarean with her. And then when I did get to see her, I knew in my mind that I loved her. Why wouldn't I? You know, she was a beautiful little baby. She's my baby, but I didn't feel it. I know it sounds it sounds really sad to say, but I didn't want to, you know, feed her. I'd hold her, but I just didn't feel that connection because it was such a traumatic birth. And obviously I'd had an epileptic fit, so I didn't see her for 3 days. So when I did see her, and she was in like a special baby unit, I'm holding this baby and I'm like, oh, you're mine. Oh my God. I've got to feed you. I've got to mother, you know, the reality of motherhood kicked in, and I would try and sleep as much as I could. I didn't want to motivate myself. I didn't want to, you know, try and push for that bond because I didn't feel that bond at that time. And I just felt scared. I was just down and out. I just didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to run. Truth be told, I just wanted to run.
And what was happening between you and your partner during this period? Did you guys speak about how you were feeling?
I did mention it, but I think he just kind of, at the time, just kind of like disregarded it, like, you'll be okay, you'll be fine. But as I said, I limited what I spoke about because I was scared of what people would say and if I would be judged.
So, at what stage were you diagnosed with postnatal depression?
It was a couple of weeks after, because I was in hospital for a few weeks, obviously, and my daughter was as well. And so they would, obviously, I couldn't walk or anything like that. So they would call down to the ward and say, oh, mummy, baby wants feeding. And I just like that. I didn't want to move.
It seems as if you had a very early onset of postnatal depression.
Yeah.
It would appear that it was very early whilst you were still in hospital.
Yeah, it kicked in straight away.
Yeah,
it kicked in straight away. So, and it was a nurse that figured it, well, not say figured out, she caught on to me. And she was actually the nurse that was looking after my daughter daytime in Skibo. So she's like, what's wrong? And so I actually spoke to her because she didn't know me, I didn't know her, but I knew she was looking after my baby. So I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. Everything just came out like a can of worms, all out of my mouth at one time. And she was like,
Yep.
It sounds like postnatal depression to me.
Postnatal depression, yeah. Mm.
And I said, I can't do this, I can't do this. And then the night before me and my daughter was being discharged from hospital, they had this mother and baby room. So I went to like stay there the night before. And then what happened was I had a fit, an epileptic fit, because obviously where I had such a traumatic birth,
Yeah.
I was very poorly, and my mum was staying with me as well in the hospital. So she just tell a lie. Sorry, I stayed there the night before I was meant to be discharged. I'd had an epileptic fit, and then the nurses made sure that I was okay. My daughter was fine, she was safe. And then they spoke with my mum, and my mum said, well, where was Charlotte when, you know, because they was going to call social services because of the fact that I'd had an epileptic fit. So my mum said, well, where was my daughter when she had this fit? And where was the baby? So she said, well, the baby was I'd actually put my baby under a chair, safely wrapped up and everything, and I was on the opposite side of the room having the fit. So my mum said, well, look, my daughter subconsciously knew that she had to make sure her child was safe, and she as far away as possible to make sure she did not harm her child. So they said, okay, well, if it's controlled epilepsy, we're not going to call social services. So we spoke, and I was like, it is controlled. It's just that I'm very poorly. When you're very, very poorly, it can happen, you know, at any time in your life, even if you don't have a child. So, but the father wasn't around, you see. My mum was actually the main person that kept going up to visit my daughter every day in hospital. He wasn't really around. He'd just come, see the child, and then go. And it was my mum that said, why is he not here? I'm here more than he is, you know, and I'm the grandmother. I'm not the father of the, you know. He's got no excuse because you can go 24 hours. But in my head, I'm just like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to believe it. No, everything's going to be fine. We're going to be one big happy family.
Okay.
Turned out wrong.
Yeah, that's right. So what would you advise ladies who could be going through issues like this when they're at this stage of their pregnancy, or they've had birth and they're finding it difficult? What would you advise them to do?
I strongly suggest, through my own personal experiences, is to talk. It's okay to feel what you feel. Okay, your body responds, your mind is responding to a new big change in your life, and that, you know, that can be very scary. And it's so vital that you speak to, whether it be a friend, a family member, even a doctor or a nurse, even a stranger. It is so important to identify what you're thinking and feeling, and to express that to somebody so they can help you, or for you to kind of see the light, because it's out of your mind. And then if you need to get any help, if you haven't got family support, then go to your doctor, or speak to your friends and their family members, anybody that you know that can help you. Go with. Do not.
The only thing with postnatal depression is you're not recognizing it.
Yeah,
it's the people around you who need to be educated in recognizing the symptoms and the little triggers of postnatal depression, because she would say that she's fine, not recognizing what's going on. But it's great for people around to be educated on what those signs are. So they're the ones who, because normally what happens at the end when someone's going home, you would speak to not the mum about postnatal depression. Yes, you would tell her that it can happen, but you would also tell whoever's with her that these are the signs that will treat, that you could say, okay, I think something's wrong here. She might deny that she's okay. She might say, no, nothing's wrong with me. But then you can pick up a little stuff like neglecting a baby, detachment, constantly feeling sorry for herself, just down all the time or crying for no reason, having lots of baby blues one too often, and then whoever's around you will pick that up, and then they can sound the alarm for you.
So obviously you didn't have your partner there beside you to go through that process.
No, I didn't. And unfortunately for me, I didn't get any, my mother or did not get any of that information before we left the hospital either.
Mm, mm,
Because I think if we had, I think my
yeah,
mum would have kept me living with her, even though I had my own home. She would have kept me
yes,
with her a lot longer.
yes.
And I'm glad that you brought that up, because I think it's so important that people around women that have postnatal depression are aware
Yeah,
of
they are the ones who should be aware, because I never tell the mum this. I take the attention off mum and said, this information is for you, not for mum, because she would not recognize that she's having postnatal depression at all. She would know
again,
she's feeling well, but for her, she's all right because of
yes.
how the mind's displaced and because of what's going on in her body at the time.
Plus, as a mum, you want to be a good mum. So you don't
Yeah,
want anyone to think that you're not a
You're
good
not doing the
mum.
right thing.
So you think if I tell them what I'm feeling, they're gonna think I'm just a no good mum. So
yeah.
that's another reason why mums hold that in.
Mm.
I felt bad already knowing that I didn't feel that natural bond that everybody would say you'd feel once your baby
Yeah,
comes in your heart.
that special bond.
I felt guilty because I didn't feel that, and I think it was my fault. So I'm thinking, well, if I'm feeling like this, I'm certainly not going to, tell the whole family how happy I
Mm.
am.
No doubt, no
Even
doubt.
though I just didn't feel it. I felt guilty, and I didn't want to say too much in
That's
case I
right.
was judged.
So now you go home. And when you're at home, how does that process sort of start unraveling?
If I start from, I stayed with my mum for 3 months, and then she's like, right, Charlotte, it's time to go and be a mum. I'm always on the phone. I'll always pop over. But you gotta. She threw me in the deep end, and when we spoke about it years later, she said, I knew you could do it, and I started to see some signs, but I knew you were strong enough to get through it. So she just kind of said, there you go, your turn now. And I'm still seeing her every day, but even through all of that, my child's dad was just still kind of coming and going every day. And so when I moved into my own home, it felt like a lot of it was just all on me. I'm thinking of the little girl, she was great. She had a lovely routine, and I'm sitting there feeling sad. So then I'm getting a bit resentful because I'm like, why are you around? Like, come on, this is our moment. This is our baby. And then it started to get into, oh, it's my case. Oh, I'm here. And then so I'd try and think, well, actually, no, I'd say something in return, like, well, no, you're not here. The minute she was born, you just kept coming and going every day. We're meant to be a relationship, and you're out all the time, and then you come and go. So no, you're not actually here. And because I would stand up to what he would say, that's when it started to change.
Oh.
You see, because I confronted the issue. I didn't want there to be an issue. I wanted to resolve it. But obviously I had a different mindset to him. So and then slowly but surely, the psychological abuse, the coercive control was coming in, the emotional abuse, and then it led to physical.
Wow.
How did that
So it's a process. It didn't just start physically then.
No, it started off mentally, because I think what happened as well, for years, I believed, even after I'd come out of it, I believed that it was my fault because I said too much about myself too early. So he picked up on my weaknesses. But then, you see, so it's like, I know she has epilepsy anyway. Oh, I know her dad did, she had to see her dad, privately for many years of her life. I know this, I know that. Which one am I going to put out the bag first? Do you know what I mean?
Oh. Okay. So he used those against you, basically.
Yeah. So
do you remember the first time he laid hands on you?
Yeah.
Share that with us.
He was having an argument, and he was putting me down, so I'm having a go at him back, and then I just felt a slap right on the face, so it was just red raw, and the shock of it just made me stop what I was doing at that moment in time. And I just burst into tears. And the first thing I did was look around, make sure that my baby hadn't witnessed that. And not that maybe she would, understood anything, but from babies, they've already got an imprint in their mind anyway. So anything they see, they're processing, but even before their consciousness kicks in. But when I got hit, I said, right, that's it. You're out. Get out of my life. All of that kind of conversation. I was crying. I rang up my mum, and she was saying, right, out. You get out now. But then what I had wanted at that time, it felt like subconsciously I was having a loyalty card with what I wanted deep within my heart. And so I was losing sight of reality. I was thinking about what I wanted to work. For example, my dad would, for many years, I only saw my dad privately before I was integrated into his family. In my mind, it's like, well, I don't want my daughter to ever feel like how I felt. So I've got to make it work. I can't let her go through what I have. Does that make sense? So I'm forgetting about the red flags. I'm in denial. I'm like, I don't want to know them. I don't want to recognize it. I've got to make it work. I've got to, even if it is my fault, I've got to make it work. And he saw that. And so he played on that. He played on that a lot.
So did he actually leave at first when you first was angry and it erupted, or did it get dealt with then?
No, he did leave, and then he came back the following day. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. I should have controlled my temper. You're beautiful. I love you. I want to be with you forever. We're a family. Everything else, we're going to get married. All them lines there. So I'm like, will you ever do it again? He's like, no, I promise you I won't. So I was like, okay, then, well, I'm still angry with you, but let me just try and get past it. As I said, it's very kind of depression. I'm a new mum. I've got my own home now. All these things. So I just thought, okay, yeah, it'll work. It was just, he lost his temper. He's never done it before, so he's not going to do it again.
You find ways to excuse what happened. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You want it to work so much, don't you?
Pardon?
Because you want it to work so much, don't you?
Yeah. I found every excuse under the sun.
And do you think they think that based on the fact that you came into your life with your own daddy issues, that kind of set you up as well when you go into life, into relationships with men, but you've got issues with your dad yourself? It's almost like you're not quite at peace, you're not quite whole, you're not quite understanding what it is that you need from a man and how he should be treating you and valuing you.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's true. I mean, my mum, she raised, me and my siblings, and she nurtured us. She was amazing. She still is amazing. However, I personally believe that she done everything she could to make sure that my dad, was seeing me, and it got to a point where I actually told my dad's family about me. He didn't tell me about them. I was his eldest, his firstborn, so he'd met his wife after my mum, not whilst with my mum. Do you know what I mean? You see, so he'd had a relationship with my mum. My mum fell pregnant. He didn't want to know. Made a new life, and then obviously bumped into my mum many years later, and then that's how I started seeing him. But he was too much. I can speak about this openly because me and him have had these discussions, and we've healed and we've moved forward, and I have a relationship with him. But at the time, it was like, I'm the abandoned child, so I'd do everything in my power just attention, to feel wanted, to feel loved, to be accepted. You know what I mean? And because I was fighting so much of that, as an old self now, it was like, wow, that was a good gold loyalty card that you had to pay. And you got so good at chasing that because of what you wanted that you actually subconsciously have become comfortable with it. So then when you're hearing somebody saying he doesn't love you, leave him because if he loved you, he wouldn't have hit you. To me, I'm like, there's another part that's playing in my mind, like, no, don't you, but it's actually because I was too scared. I was too scared.
Wonderful. So
Yeah.
fear plays a huge part in the whole of this, doesn't it? And it's your fears.
Yeah.
And you were focused, people focus on outside of you when the focus needed to be about you and what you needed to do. Not so much about him.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Because from you figured out what you needed, then he would have been gone.
Absolutely.
Because your stocks and your shares in Charlotte were going down every time you allowed him back in to continue that behavior towards you.
Absolutely. I mean, I look at it now and I think, was that my younger self? Did I? How did I go through that? Do you know what I mean? All these many years.
Was there any domestic violence in your family that you've known about?
No.
Excellent. So it's just that need.
So it's just your need then. So not something that you've seen, that you've accepted, but it's your need that caused you to say.
That was the core, the issue that I had with my dad. Okay. And not feeling like I was good enough. So I went in that direction. You know, they say you what's that saying? You attract what you know, so to speak, even if you're not conscious of it.
Or you bring about your fears. You bring about the things that you fear the most.
Yeah.
Yeah. So share with me how this relationship, how long this process went before you was able to kind of wake up to it, and how bad did it get before you realized that, nah, I need to deal with me, because this guy's been I've allowed him to continue to abuse me when I don't want to do that anymore.
And when it happened for around 2 years, and then it was just getting heavier and heavier, and I couldn't ignore the dynamics. I couldn't, the whole setup, it wasn't what I wanted for my child and for me. So then after the emotional abuse, that had already kicked in from the beginning, I said from when I had my daughter, and the physical abuse, leaving him, coming back, and then he's leaving me, and then coming back. Do you know what? All them things there. Yeah.
Because he's got his own problems, hasn't he?
Pardon?
Because he's got massive problems of his own.
Well, funnily enough, what his behaviour is a repeated cycle from his dad.
Wow. Okay.
And did you work this out, your relationship?
Only afterwards.
Okay, I see. So did he share with you his past like he knew about your past?
He just said, like, more so, I you know, my mum left because my dad would hit her at times.
When did you link the two? His dad. So not during your relationship, you realised that this guy's playing out his dad's behaviour.
I mean, I didn't see it really at the time. I didn't put the links together. Because, and if it was there, I didn't look at it. I didn't see it. I didn't see it long enough for me to have the light bulb switch on. So when it came to the end, when, I mean, none of the physical abuse ever went on in front of my daughter, you see.
Okay.
So if I did have a red mark on my face or, you know, a black eye, and my friends saw, I actually lied to most of them and said, oh, I had an epileptic fit, or I tripped, and all of those things. I fell out of bed, you know, everything that you can think of apart from saying he hit me. And the one person.
What was that about? Do you understand what that was about now?
Yeah, I wanted to protect myself and protect my family. that's because that's how I, even though it wasn't great, it was still like at that time, that was my family. And I was embarrassed. And I think I think also it's because I knew that the minute I started listening, I would have to wake up to what God had been trying to tell me all along, you know? And I did. I just wanted to protect my child. I wanted to protect myself and my fears, because I mean, you could, whether you're, when you're young, whether you're nurtured by your parents or you're natured by your parents, which is basically the tough love. Okay. And the nurture is where they're, you know, very, very loving, very fun. And it doesn't make, it's irrelevant in some aspects, because as I said, I come from, my family's a loving family, great, you know, family network. But yet, hang on a minute, I'm going through all of this. I can't be telling, I'll be the embarrassment of the family. You know, what are you doing? You know, with somebody like that. So it's kind of like, just shut up.
Okay.
Wow.
Let's say it's always a risk that you're becoming your.
The day that I left, was the day that my daughter, with me and him was having an argument because he had found out he'd cheated on me, and I said, you know what, I'm done with this now. I'm tired of this, you know. Even though I'd said them words all over, you know, many times before, I'm leaving you, I've had enough, go out of my life. I said, I'm tired. And then the argument escalated and I got slapped in the face on my right side. I remember it clear as day, because as I've gone and the force, as I've looked to my left, my little one was a couple of years old by then. And I see confusion in her eyes, like she's just rubbing her eyes, like looking like that. And as soon as I looked at her, the light bulb switched on. And his mum was here that same day. So she just called out his name, like shouted at him. And I picked her up and I picked up my child, gave her to his mum. And I said, go in the other room. And he went in the other room, and by then he'd gone back into the bedroom. And truth be told, I went in there and I picked up the biggest belt I could find and I started beating him with it. Everything that I'd been holding in was just now coming out, you know, and I never went back after that. That was it. I just went.
Do you know, it's strange. I was listening to you and thinking that, you know, you were talking about, you know, your child didn't see, but do you think we underestimate children picking up the energy of toxic environments and energy between parents who aren't connected, who aren't loving each other right? I think children have a huge power and ability to pick up energy because they lack the cognitive behavior and that hasn't been developed yet. But they pick up vibes very, very well. So even though she didn't see it, she can feel that something's wrong.
Absolutely. And the thing is, though, the ironic, and you can't underestimate energy. It's there. You know, even money is energy. We get attracted to money. Do you know what I mean? It's energy.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, when it was in front of her, it was then like the put on a show. You know, so even though mummy's smiling, daddy's smiling, she's running around being in a little fairy dress, happy and everything else, I'm pretty sure that there was that element of the energy there that was a little bit kind of, you know, unbalanced. Absolutely. So, but she never, thankfully, she didn't see it physically to remember it. Because when I asked her, what do you remember from when you was young? You know, she mentions everything else, but not that. And I'm like, do you remember when you was 2 years old and I bought you this fairy dress? She's like, no, mama. You know, do you remember when daddy, I tried it in all different ways. Like, do you remember when daddy's speaking loud as always? She's like, no, daddy always speaks loud. Do you know what? I was just testing to see if she was remembering, but she claims she don't, but I believe that the energy there, even if it was minuscule, would have still transferred into her.
Of course.
I believe so.
Of course.
That's
so,
what I believe.
So did you know that was it? You know, did you know that you came to your final straw once you said that? And what did that process look like? Because, you know, it's evident that you've recognized that truth is your power.
Yeah.
Truth is your power, because what you were doing, you were covering up, you was allowing your fears and maybe vulnerability and exposing the truth. Really is what we tried to cover up. People knowing the truth about us and not recognizing that truth is our power. Because look how powerful you have become by speaking that truth, by opening up, by being vulnerable. And I think for everyone to realize that the thing we're running away from allowing to happen is actually the escape route out. That's the power that you have to change and break the cycle. You know,
Yeah.
I think that things that are happening really bad have got more power when it's hidden, when people keep it a secret. You know,
Yes.
hence why pedophiles make sure that there's something why the child's going to keep it quiet. You better not say anything because no one's going to believe you, this and that. So that secret's kept. But the truth is their power.
Yep.
Because even if others don't believe them, it empowers them to know I've got this out and I can grow in this power. And until you began to speak, you had no power.
No.
You were at your weakest.
That's when the truth sets you free.
Hence that saying.
That is when the truth sets you free.
Absolutely. I mean, when the day I left my child's dad, I actually used her as my strength. Because the eyes, just the eyes, and that's what I said. Oh my God, I've got to break this cycle. I've got to get out of this. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't have her grow up thinking that this is a way of living. This is how you're meant to be treated.
Because then she would accept that.
Absolutely. And to me, even though I went through it, it's not acceptable. And I would never allow her, you know, I would never accept anything like that ever. And I never have ever since. But I thought, no, I've got to set an example. I've got to leave. I have, and it was them thoughts that actually pushed me fast away from him. Seeing the look on her face, and flooding thoughts like, no, if I stay, she's gonna think this is okay. And then, and if I do this, she's gonna then end up, when she's a teenager, meeting somebody who's gonna do the same thing to her. And then I can't say nothing because she'll call me a hypocrite because it was all them rushing thoughts, and that's how far my mind was thinking. So I was like, I'm out. I tapped out. I was gone.
Well, you're strong. I'll give you credit for coming out, because there's a lot of women who still is in this situation right now, even though they know they need to leave, even though they've got young children who are seeing this happening, they're still there. It's like they need some a way out. And I think sometimes because it's learned behavior, and sometimes because it's what they know, they see mommy get beaten, so they believe it's okay for that to happen to them. But knowing also that they need to come out and they just can't.
I would ask those people to get support. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think it's important.
Not everybody's a Charlotte.
No, and they're not, and it wasn't an easy process. Even
after, it's not easy at all.
You know, because bruises heal very easily, but mentally and emotionally, that can take years, and it did. It took me a good few years to actually find, you know, that place where I can just talk about this. And even there's a part of me.
Absolutely, I believe so.
But it's because.
Go on, finish, because there was a question somebody else, but finish, please.
Heart was beating fast, like, oh my God, you're actually talking about it. It's more so like I found me. You said there's learned behavior. So you can grow up seeing it, thinking it's the norm, you're going to follow it. You know, and there are other factors, but also one of the biggest factors that I believe and I found, which is so true, is who are we? We're okay, we can be a mum, we can be a sister, a wife, a husband, a brother, but if we push all of that to one side, push our jobs to one side, who are we? Because what we are lacking within ourselves, or what we want within ourselves, that enough, in my case, was enough for me to, the abandonment, I felt abandoned. So instead of dealing with it, I felt I had to find somebody that was going to love me to replace what my parents had been presented to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It makes a lot of sense.
somebody put down something that I think is really important, and I said, be careful of people who try to isolate you, keep you
Yeah.
alone, away from your family, so they can deal with you.
Yeah.
So,
Accusing you of cheating on them,
there
putting
you
you
go.
down in how you look
Yeah.
physically,
Yeah.
judge your parenting as well. Even though you're both parents together, both raising a child, they can do that. They can check your phones.
Yeah.
They can take over your finances. They're doing everything.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people go on, Ma. A lot of times what you've just said is seen in the other cultures, where in other cultures you'll find that women aren't anything. They're just there as a mother and child, and they're subjected to a lot of abuse. And for them, they think that's the norm for them in that kind of culture, and they stay there in it. And if they say anything or let someone be aware of it, you find that they either get banned from the family, kicked out from the family, looked down upon, saying you're trying to create scandal. So you find that there's women now who are in that situation who are keeping quiet and getting beatings every day.
Yeah.
All the time.
It was when I went to a charity helped me. I went on a domestic violence awareness course, because through this, even though I was still having to have therapy and learn to heal and still trying the process, but I wanted to do something to help try and educate myself to get a sense of understanding from what I'd just gone through. There was actually a lady that was coming to these meetings secretly. She couldn't tell her husband. She was still with the abuser, but she would come secretly. And so it's like kind of like, wow, she wants to get away, but she's scared, as you said, about the family, kicking her out and disowning her and taking the kids. And it's just quite, it's quite sad, really. It's just so sad. And the thing is, these behaviours don't just happen for women. It happens to men as well.
Men, exactly. I was waiting to say that.
We can't forget that. You see, there are women that will use that abusive behaviour on men, and because there's the stigma that, oh well, if you talk about it, you're not man enough, or the ego and everything else, they become isolated. They don't want to meet up with their friends as much. They just, I'm looking after the little one, or I'm indoors with the partner, and they just don't want to do anything. And and if you have a child, then the mum can be like, well, if you leave me, you're not going to see the kid. And if that's a genuine father who wants that bond and feels
that, I was waiting to bring that up, because that is a form of abuse.
Absolutely.
I was waiting to bring that up, where the women use it against the dads to say, well, all right, you're not going to get to see the kids and stuff. That is a form of abuse.
You're using the child as a tool. You use the child as a tool to control the situation.
I know, and to me, it's diabolical. Any form of abuse, whether it be on a man or a woman, is absolutely diabolical as far as I'm concerned. Not because I'm just an outsider looking in, but through my own personal experiences. I'm
gonna bring up a separate session on that.
Question.
Somebody ask you a question. Yeah, I'm gonna bring up a separate session about that. I'm gonna bring a dad in that's gone through stuff like that, so we can really look at that and kind of discuss it. But there's a question from someone. They want to know how that affected your relationships moving forward.
I'll be honest with you. 2 relationships I got in afterwards were just failures. It was just a disaster. I didn't get, I didn't go through domestic violence with them. It didn't work out. It didn't work out. Then inside I'm like, what's wrong with me? I've already felt, bearing in mind, I already had low self-esteem and lack of confidence, for what I'd gone through. And I just thought, well, no one wants me. I'm not good enough. I'm at home, a single mom with a baby that I love, because I've built that bond with her. It came, because I woke up and it was just there and it was beautiful. But it's like something's not right here. And that's when I realized the pattern. I mean, the relationship after my daughter's dad, it wasn't volatile, but you know, you see one or two little flags and you think, hang on a minute, there's a pattern here.
Yeah, of
and
course.
that's when I had to stop. And I ended that relationship. I thought, it's got to go. That person I have to let that person leave. And then start the hard work then.
That's it. So I just want to point something out that I think everybody should know. Like, I've done a lot of life coaching, and one of the things that I learned is that when we asking ourselves, it's a question we all do: what's wrong? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with you? And what that does to our mind, it sends our mind searching for negativity.
Yeah.
Because you're searching for what's wrong. And that's not the question. You need to send your mind in a place where it's looking for an answer that's productive, that you can use to move forward in life.
Yeah.
So how can I change this situation? What do I want out of this situation? These are the kind of productive questions that we ask that will bring about answers that will help us. Asking what's wrong don't create solutions.
No,
and with the short time of problems that we have, we need solution-based questions so we could come to solution-based answers.
Yeah.
Someone asked, would you find it strange if a man treated you nice?
I wouldn't say I found it strange. I found it, I was more cautious because I thought, was there a hidden agenda at first? And, you know, that can, you know, just scare you enough. Like, no, you know, but I think it can scare you. It can even put you off and make you run back to what you know, because I said, that loyalty card, you're comfortable with pain. You're used to it, Charlotte. You know, you've gone through losing your child. You've gone through this, you've gone through that. You know what pain feels like. You're comfortable subconsciously, even if you don't want to be. So, as I said, like, so when something, the opposite would come, it's like, oh my God, what's this all about? Let me, you know, just dip my toe in a little bit and then just tip it back out and just watch and see if they're gonna, you know, play the charm game and then pull me in again. Do you know what I mean? But for me, I think my turning point was, as I said, when I saw the pattern, and then I approached my father with the issues that me and him had, and started making more and more discoveries. I then started therapy.
Important.
Okay? And I had it the first time and I thought, well, this was great. It was beneficial. However, I didn't feel like I'd got to the root of everything.
Right.
I didn't feel, I wasn't happy enough, because I thought, hang on a minute, I've spent all this time in something that's negative and toxic. I've got to use it to put everything into me, because if I can do it for that, why can't I do it for me? So I went back to therapy again. I said, you know what? I'm going to be 100% vulnerable. I'm going to have to sit with things that I am not comfortable with. However, I have to trust the process. And for me to heal and to live a happier life in healthy relationships, all damage, not just the domestic violence, but down to the childhood issue that I had, I have to really go in. I've got to knock on them demons' doors and say, hi, how do we start? Do you know what I mean? Because I'm coming out of it, you ain't. You know, these are things that I'm saying.
You have to decide to face your own truths.
I had to. Otherwise, I'd be in something toxic now, many years later. I mean, bear in mind, my early 20s when this was happening. I'm in my mid-30s now. You know, and as I said, I look back and I'm like, wow, that was you. And sometimes it, you know, even just talking about it, when I think at the same time, when I'm talking to you both, it's like, wow, but is that strength? Like, yes, you know, you go, girl.
That's great. That's awesome.
But I definitely believe that you have to look within yourself, because we can all write a story, but every so often we have to edit it. Okay?
Yeah.
Edit our story often. And we have to really figure out in life who we are. We don't do it just once. We do it when we're faced with something that we're more so. I find that through you grow through pain and situations that you've been faced, you know, that obstacles that have hit you in your life. And it's only through growing through that pain and the uncertainty and uncomfortableness that you then really get to see your own inner strength and the self-love. I don't even call it self-love and self-care. I call it I love myself. I care. Because it's all good to say self-care, and there's nothing wrong with it, but I feel with the word I, it's that bit more powerful for me.
Yes, I
so
like I.
I'm doing some self-care today. It's like a front, how I see it. But no, I'm going to care for myself today. It's like...
That's right.
Yeah,
that's
excellent, excellent. What does the future look like for you, Isha?
Isha?
I mean, what does the
Charlotte.
future look like for you, Charlotte? I was going to tell you that I want to offer you some sessions with Isha Johnson. Do you remember Isha Johnson that came on? Are you still seeing a therapist at the moment?
No, that's all done. That's all
Done. Do you know what? I just want to share this with people. It's never done. It's never done. Like support because we're always growing and going through stuff. So I just want to encourage everyone that even when things are going good, and you'll find this with a lot of successful people, they won't tell you, but they've got a life coach that they regularly see. They've got someone that they regularly talk to, and that helps support them and continue with them along their life's journey, because life is ongoing. We've got new challenges. We've got, you know, we kind of fall off sometimes. You know, even when we're doing well, sometimes something knocks us and we go backwards. So having someone there, what's that, babe? Yeah, you go back to what you know, yeah?
Fall back to what you know.
Exactly,
I mean,
exactly.
A few years ago, and that chapter in regards with domestic violence and what that part of healing I've dealt with. However, as you stated, and it's true, we are forever growing, and you know, you can get into a new relationship and be so happy, but if anything goes, there's always still that little hello. Do you know what I mean? So it's about balancing and working on yourself. And
do you know why I agree with what Mark said, Charlotte? That you still need to be ongoing, and so does everyone else in the comments are saying, because as someone said, never lose us. We have to work on ourselves regularly. You've even mentioned it just now. You have to go back and edit your story. So that for you to edit your story, it means that you have to continually have a support system.
And I'm offering you that. I'm offering you someone amazing that really when you connect with this individual, you're gonna be blown away. Some of the deep stuff that Isha's gone through. So she's not just a life coach, a counselor, a therapist. She's not just that. She's lived this stuff. All she's gone and done is just gone and got all the qualifications. But when she's got mad skills. She's come on the show a couple of times. You know, everyone loved her on the show, and I've access to her. So when you come on board,
because what it is, you think that yes, I'm out of it and I'm great. No, when you start getting other support, you realize that whoa, I'm even greater. I'm even more powerful. So that's your goalpost. That should be your goalpost.
It's very true that, I mean, irrespective of that, I'm away from that situation and I've had, you know, therapy and I've moved forward. It is still important that, you know, you do have a support network. You do. That's not because you're going to go back into domestic violence.
No, not that. No, not at all.
You need that support, and I've now, before where I was so scared to access the support that I had when I was younger. When I look at the support I have now,
you've frozen a bit.
Come back, Charlotte. Yeah, you're back now.
You froze a little.
You froze for a second.
Sorry, no,
You're
I was
back,
just saying
man.
that the support that I have now, I just love it, you know, and I'm always happy to meet new people and
Excellent.
work with them, because that's how you learn, that's how you live. And
Exactly.
with me, I look at my mind as a project now. So even if life is going great, there is still areas of myself that I have to work on. So I just look at it like, it's a project, it's my mind. Actually, the subconscious is very secretive. So now and
Yeah.
again,
Nice.
Hi.
I really want to thank everyone for putting in comments. Someone's named Pink has been dropping some bombs in here. There's ladies that have that really understand your experience,
I've
that
gone
know
through
what
it.
they've gone through and have
Yeah.
been through it and experienced it themselves. I just want to share with everyone that this platform that I've created, yeah, beautiful babies. This platform I've created is really to support, you know, people. And if you DM me, we'll definitely point you in the right direction. Because this is not just about having a talk. This is about outcomes. We really want to see people living their best lives now. We really want to see people allowing that blockage, you know, within their energy where that goes through them, because we block ourselves when we have bitterness, when we have doubts, when we have fears, you know, and we don't have that system that's just flowing good energy through us so others can see the best of us. And they can see the smile that Charlotte's got when she comes on and picks up her energy. Because sometimes I just sit down or I'm walking on the street and I'm just picking up people's energy. I'm looking at them. I'm watching what they're
yeah,
carrying.
people.
What's
Their
that?
energy. I said, I people watch sometimes just to pick up, see their
Yeah,
energy.
yeah, no, to do that. No
Yeah.
doubt, no doubt. And I think, you know, I wonder what's really going on in their
Yeah,
lives,
you do that.
Yeah,
why their energy seems
Yeah.
so dry, or why they're giving off so much negativity, or where does
yeah,
all this anger and hate towards you come from just because you've got a different opinion than them. And you just wonder, you know, about people. But I just want to let everyone know this is a platform about solutions,
mhm,
outcomes. So not just you, because people on here might just be feeling great. But if there's people that you know, family members that need support, you know, we're encouraging you guys, contact us. Let us know what's going on. If I can't do anything to support you, I will definitely know somebody who can, and I could put you in contact with the right people. What does the future look like for Charlotte? Paint your picture of Charlotte in 2, 3 years' time. What have you done? You know, what have you accomplished? You know,
well, I do fundraising and awareness days for epilepsy. So I'm a motivational speaker for that. As you know as well, I've started writing my own book with your.
Yay.
That's going great.
brilliant.
There's a
I've still
plan.
got to send you. We've got to have another meeting for the next section, Charlotte.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I have a plan to move.
No.
So I'm looking forward to that, and looking. I'm just, do you know what? I'm looking forward to just manifesting everything that I want, and just to be able to wake up every day, and the goals that I have to do. Helping other people is very important to me. Looking after me is very important to me and my family. But yeah, the moving, writing a book, speaking with, you know, children, that through, you know, that educating them about domestic violence, educating them about epilepsy, and doing everything that I can to make a positive difference for myself and for other
Awesome.
people.
That sounds wonderful, Charlotte.
Beautiful.
So,
Thank you so much, Charlotte.
there's life's journeys, everyone. You know, sometimes we find ourselves in such a mess, and it's like we just don't think it's going to get any better. But I've always say this to young people, and I say it to everywhere I go: if you think you're right,
You're right.
or if you think you're wrong, you're right.
Yeah,
It's all down to what you want, what you believe.
That's right.
If you want out, if you want to change your life, if you want better for yourself, that is exactly what you're going to get. Your mind is going to find a way to migrate towards what you want out of life.
If you want to get out of bad cycles, bad habits, you're going to migrate, whether it starts with getting support, whether it starts with speaking up, however it starts, it has to start, because it's only going to work from your belief system. If you believe you want this to end and you want out, it's going to happen. I'm making sure that we're here for you, and we're here to support you, Charlotte, as well.
Thank you. Can I just say one last thing quickly? Sorry, before I jump off.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, what do you want to wrap up with?
Yes. Listen, people out there, okay? The hardest thing in life, one of the hardest things in life is facing who we are, okay? But we're all here for a reason. And you can unbecome what you don't want to be and what you don't want to live for. Okay, it is doable. The change is doable. And anyone that is stuck, male or female, that is stuck in a domestic violence, relationship, of suffering any form of abuse, there are ways out, and the hardest way is the best way, which is leaving. Okay, because you can either stay there and put up with that behavior and suffer for the rest of your life, which is not what you're meant to do. You could possibly be at risk of dying. And the reality is people are being killed from domestic violence. It's the highest rate. In regards to Canada, it is domestic violence. Or you can take, the hardest way out, which is in the long term, the easiest, so to speak, when over time, which is go. Don't think you have to build up that that escape process in your mind, like, how am I going to do this? Am I going to do it this, that? No, just if your heart is telling you no, find a place to go. The rest, it will take. It doesn't matter how long it takes, years, months, whatever. Do what is right for you. It may be hard. It will be hard. However, it is doable. If you can get up and look at yourself and love your other people, you can love yourself, and you deserve to. So that's just my bit of advice. It's hard, but it's worth it. And I'm here to tell the story as well. So
you're a living witness.
That's
you're
awesome.
A living witness. Thank you so much, Charlotte. Everyone give Charlotte a big round of applause.
And give us some love in the comment section.
Charlotte, some love. Charlotte, you've been amazing. The truth is your power. Speak truth. I keep saying we're living at a time where people are just being conditioned to be how people want them to be. I just think that it's so valuable to have people that value themselves, value their opinion, value their lives, and are willing to speak up despite what anybody else says, even if it goes against the grain. Just do you.
Lovely.
I love all you guys. I'm going to leave with Charlotte on the line. I love you guys. Everyone. I thank you so much for tuning in, because without you, there's no life. Okay?
Not at all.
So thank you. One question. Could you guys start messaging me if 5 o'clock's too early? Is 7 o'clock better? Because there has been 1 or 2 people that are saying, oh, I'm making dinner, I had to put the live on at the same time. So drop some times in right now before we sign off. Drop some times in 7, 6, 8, whatever time is good. And the time that comes up the most, thank you, Max, come on, you Oz. The time that comes up the most is the time that we will do, 7 p.m. Lovely. That's what's in my head, 7. But I just wanted to know what suits our viewers.
Or you could DM us, let us know, and then we go for it for next week.
Throw some more times in for me. 7 again. Okay. Yes, lovely. That's from AKA Les. 7. Jules, Big. 7. So it looks like 7. If we keep getting 7, it is a bit early, isn't it? 5. It's a bit of an odd time, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, it's a bit of an odd time. 7, you can keep that. Yeah. 7, you can keep that.
Exactly. Because I'm here glimpsing at the scores.
I don't even know what the score is.
7 will be fine for me.
Okay.
Lovely, yeah. 6:37.
Okay.
Good.
So we might go for 7 for next week then.
I'm going to go for 7. So I'm going to thank you guys for coming in at 5, even though you would have loved it to be later.
Excellent, man. That's
you took the time to come on the live. I thank you for every week supporting. Look, no matter how I feel, because it's not every week I feel like I want to do this. You know, how can I feel like that every single week? I'm not getting nothing out of this. There's no monetary gain. There's nothing. This is all about me giving. You know, please DM me job opportunities. And I know I don't know what it is all the time to announce it, but there's plenty.
You nearly burnt the toast, the roast. So sorry, darling. You nearly burnt
I nearly burnt. Oh, miss me. I'm sorry, sweetheart. You should have put it on timer. You're both worth it. Thanks, Les.
Oh, thanks, Les.
Really appreciate that. I appreciate you guys. Listen, guys, please DM me. There's employment. I know there's a lot of people in problems. There's a lot of people in trouble. If anyone's having problems with just making sure that there's enough shopping for the kids, stuff like that, please let us know as well. Please DM us, because I do want to be of service to people in the community. If there's people that are in need of maybe some support, therapy, counseling, stuff like that, don't feel no way. Just holler at me, let me know, DM me. And if you have a story, a powerful story that you want to share, that you think can impact other people's lives and you think will impact on young people, because I have a platform with Charlotte where I'm just excited about her coming on board. We're creating platforms for the young people to teach them from stories, from people's journey, because that's how we learn from each other. We need each other, guys. So I'm out. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys, and happy Mother's Day to all the beautiful, awesome, and strong mothers out there. Even the ones who are struggling, don't worry, you'll get it together soon. It will all go soon.
And we're here to support. So if you are struggling, please give us a shout.
All right, guys, take care, Charlotte.
And all the ones out there that, like me, are missing their mum because their mum's not here. Rest in peace, all those mums that didn't see 2021. God bless you. Praying for you, because I feel so bad. But we must keep moving on and be a shining light for others who are hurting and missing their parents. That's why I'll continue no matter what. I will continue.
Take care, everyone. Love you all.
Take care.
Bye, Charlotte.
Bye, Charlotte. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
God bless you guys. I'll let them finish putting the post in. Love it, love it. Yeah, I love all the love. Thank you. First time here and not the last. Lovely, Jules. Excellent. Thank you for joining us the first time. Yeah, lovely, guys. Thank you for all your messages. They're so valuable.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you. I'm broken today. I really hope you're lifted. So special. I want you to remember that name. So special. Okay? So special. Lift up yourself. And those that are feeling down, that don't have their mom, or for whatever reason, try and put yourself in that place that makes you feel like you've got energy, makes you feel like you're going to get up and go. You're going to fight this good fight. Because it's all here. The battle's going on in the mind. It's not outside of us. The battle is in the mind. And here's where we win or we lose. That's the only reason why I've been able to continue after my son's killed. The only reason why I've been able to continue with doors shut in my face. 15 years in, I'm still on the grind and getting better each day. Why? Because I believe, like So Special, that I am just that. You got to love yourself and you got to believe you're special. You don't need any of that from anybody else. Okay, guys? You don't need it.
You're welcome, Charlotte.
You're welcome, Charlotte. First time coming in, I just happen to have time, but I feel everything you said. God bless you all. Thank you so much. God's gift. And I'll be wearing your t-shirt as normal. God's gift t-shirt. Bless you, Pink.
All right,
thank
guys.
You so much.
Take care. Thanks for your comments and contributions.
Empress, love you. Yes, everyone. Thank you so much. Take care, guys.